Welcome, folks, all over the world. It's Mental Madness, and I am your host, Mad Max. That's right, folks. We are taking Project Awaken Aware to the next step. And this is just the beginning of the new next step. We've got a lot of new video and editing software going. We've got a few other people working on the project. And we're making I'm trying to make the studio look pretty unique and a little bit different. You know, I want it to feel warm, and I want it to feel attractive, you know, because the things that I have to discuss are things that people need to know. And today, Mental Madness podcast is going to be discussing two things. And that will be, I looked through my notes here, I just had it. Human consciousness and paranormal activity. And the reason why I want to discuss human consciousness and paranormal activity is that I used to work for the Associated Studies of Unexplained Phenomena after I got out of the military. And that's what I pretty much did. I UFO hunted and ghost hunted. Some on my own, but some with a group that it was attached to TAPS, the Association for Paranormal Studies. For a brief time, I was assistant director of research, and I also did field work, investigations. And you know, most people don't realize the technology that we now have today that works and that has awesome ways of showing things that we've never been able to see before, things that we could never be able to hear before with technology. And I got to operate some of this equipment, and I got to see how there are things that we don't see with our eyes. There are things that we don't hear with our ears. And that this paranormal activity is somewhat related to the human consciousness itself. And there was a really brilliant person by the name of Rick Moran, who was a paranormal researcher for ASAP, and really started working on the fourth hypothesis, that, you know, somehow spirits were actual living entities, possibly living in a different dimension, and that only at certain points could the human brain tune into the frequency of the observatory level of the being itself. For instance, our eyes only see in a certain spectrum of light, but if your body existed in a certain spectrum of light, then you might not be able to see the frequency. Your eyes, third density eyes that you have, might not be able to pick up the frequency of light that needed to be required to see that being. So there are some theories, there are some things going around about paranormal activity, and I do believe that spiritually or consciously as human beings that we are somewhat connecting with these beings, and they may very well be past loved ones, or they may also very well be, you know, but I don't think that they're dead, by no means. And any paranormal researcher will tell you that if there's an afterlife, that means that there's life after death. And people, you know, I really want to take Mental Madness to a positive level. You know, I'm a really aggressive person with my approach. You know, I really want to tear the fucking walls down when it comes to exposing this information, because this information is being suppressed from you, and always has been suppressed from you. And the number one goal is to obtain this information, because if all of us can have this information, and we'll get in deep into the metaphysical aspect of why we should be meditating and why we should be experimenting with hallucinogenic drugs safely, and why we should be experimenting with contacting the spirit realm, or what I would call other density beings. And so the question that we have to ask ourselves is, can we sit back anymore and really just question and ponder whether these things are true or not. No, we can't. We have to accept the fact that, okay, there's something going on. And we can't deify the fact that there are living entities after death, or different types of entities in different densities trying to reach out to your third density existence. And we have to understand that this is possibly going on all over the planet and all over the universe, that there are different densities of existence, and different layers of the universe, and different layers of existence, and that each of them have access points to each other. And so this is how people can come back and visit you, your loved ones. And, they wouldn't be able to be seeable because they would be in a different density body. And again, I can get into the Law of One series with the mind-body-spirit complex. But it does really say that people have no idea the exact science of how they came to be. They have no idea the exact capabilities that their brain allows them to use. After all, we use a very small portion of our brain power. And on purpose, somebody dumbed us down. Or we just haven't gotten to that stage to where we can use all of our brain yet. To where we're taking the right amount of nutrients. And maybe there's something we're missing. And I honestly think that there's something that the humans are missing that hasn't allowed us to use our full power of our brain. Just like when we started cooking food, our brain grew. And we became more intelligent after we started cooking food because we got better nutrients to the brain. And I think that there's something that human beings have yet to discover that will take us to the next level of intelligence. And when I talk about intelligence, I mean consciousness, the human consciousness. Because consciousness could be different in different types of beings in the universe. And the government has suppressed most of the knowledge that these beings even exist. And now they have the technology to see them, detect them, and to even contact them. So we're not dealing with a situation where this is just some giant soap opera that everybody gets to sit back and watch. No, this will affect you one day. It may not be today. It may not be 100 years from now. It may be 200, 500 years from now. Or it may be tomorrow. And, the question you have to ask yourself is, are you prepared for these things? And I've done a lot of military work. I've done a lot of paranormal research work. I've done a lot of researching, and I've done a lot of investigating of my own. And I think people out there need to do the same thing, And religion really holds you back from being able to discover the truth. Even though that religion tries to enforce the truth the way they want it to be enforced, that's not the total truth. It's the only way they interpreted the truth. And the truth has to be discovered by you. You have to discover why you're here, what you're here for, and what is going on. And the only way you're going to do that is if you learn, teach and learn. And right now we are walking around as economic slaves just to survive on our necessary needs. Especially as Americans, we have a lot of needs. So, in other worlds, some people don't require so much stuff like TVs. They don't need all that. There are civilizations on this planet who don't need that stuff. I'm not saying we should give those things up, because absolutely technology is a great thing if it's used for the right reasons. But we create technology for both purposes, evil and good. And if we just invested all of our money into the positive technology that would benefit mankind, then we would be twice as far ahead now, in the civilian population, that is. And these private banksters who have the Lockheed and Martin, all these really high echelon private security companies that contract to the government, top secret stuff that you have no clue even fucking exist. And this equipment and these things, I can't even begin to tell you the things that are going on out there. But have faith in the fact that people like me and many other people out there, and this is why I call this a project. This is a project, Awaken Aware, and mental madness is my version of reality, of the things that have happened in the past and that will happen again. You know, it's a repetitive cycle. There's a famous scientist called Dr. Paul LaViolette, and he has a theory called the galactic superwave theory. Subquantum mechanics, he calls it. And he says that there's a cycle of an energy burst that radiates from the center of the galaxy and spreads out. And it's on a cycle every 26,000 years. And that most of the time they cause catastrophic events. Because we're getting a massive blast of whatever kind of radiation energy from the center of the galaxy, just ripples out. And I mean, I think this could cause genetic bottlenecks in not only who we and what we are, maybe even for the positive, but could also explain how we evolve over time. If this genetic superwave of energy from the center of the galaxy every 25,000 years just goes and spreads out evenly through the galaxy, then we have a situation where that's possible that it could be the cause of the altering of the slow evolutionary rate of the DNA. And because it would have a massive mutative effect, highly radioactive. Whether it be positive or negative, I'm not sure. But he's a brilliant man. He brought up the principle that every 26,000 years roughly, and there's other cycles too, it spews out little gamma ray bursts, just pew, and they spread, and it spreads throughout the galaxy. And you know, this is a theory that I firmly believe in, and I firmly think could explain how we've had genetic bottlenecks within our own DNA. And it also could explain how the dinosaurs got changed from giant creatures to small, more manageable, not so harmful to humankind creatures. That this could have been genetically done by a genetic bottleneck from an experience like a galactic superwave. So, you know, again, this is not 100% true. This is only a theory, but it sounds very much like a way of explaining how everything on planet has evolved or devolved over time. So, you have to look at history, and history repeats itself. Like I said, the mental madness stage has kicked in America. It kicked in Rome. It kicked in Egypt. It kicked in Germany. It kicked in Russia. It kicked in every nation that's ever ruled this planet as the #1 most powerful empire. They've all fallen. And America is a matter of time. I think we can save America. I don't think we can save the current America we currently have right now. I think we have to really bite the bullet and go back to the roots of what America was. A free country. A place for my ideologies. For me to express the things that I want to express. And not have somebody else infringe upon my free will. So, you know, the infringement upon free will doesn't come from your neighbors. It doesn't come from, and sometimes it does. It doesn't come from your loved ones, and sometimes it does. But the main infringement of your free will comes from your government. It comes from the lack of knowledge that your government gives you. It comes from the government-regulated education system that they give you, that they mandate that you learn, which is all false. Some of it's close, but none of it's real. It's all just a paradox that make you want to live in. A fake reality. Wake the fuck up, America. This is mental madness! And I'm taking this shit to the next fucking level! Some evil shit fox want to take you down. They want to steal your money. They want to rob you. They want to two-time you. They want to fucking hustle you. And there's information out there that could bless you and your family for eternity. And they suppress this shit, and they hold it, and they crowd it, and they don't want you to know it. You need to wake up and realize that there is a different world than the one that you've been brainwashed to believe in. It takes heart, it takes passion, it takes dedication to make change in this world. And you don't do it becoming a fucking president. You don't do it by becoming a congressman. You do it by raising your fist in the fucking air and saying, I'm a free person and I can do what I want. And government, you can't tell me no. If I follow the rules and follow the laws, no. Stay off my back. Stay off my business. Don't tax the shit out of me. Don't. You need to tell me what I pay you to do. So, for instance, if I pay for national security through my taxes, the national security should keep me informed because I'm their motherfucking boss. I love this planet, and I love the people on this planet, most of them. Friendly people, kind, caring, loving people. We all have our moments where we get angry. And you really need to take into consideration that life is not exactly what you think it is. It's not, and I really have to emphasize the fact that the life that you have been living, the paradox, I would say, because it's not a life at all. It's a paradox. It's a conformed, confined. From the day you were born, you were molded into the person you are today. You were molded to accept money. You were molded to accept religious ideology. You were molded to only think a certain way and only be a certain person. You were molded to not use the creative mind that God gave you. The Creator gave you. Let's put it that way. The Creator or creators. But like I said, if there was one fucking single point of energy in the universe before it became the Big Bang, then you have to consider that energy source the Creator. And maybe that energy was so dense that that's the physical form it took. And you know, I'm not going to sit here and say I know that that's the truth. But I think, therefore I am. The energy thought and became aware. Infinitely aware. And dispersed its energy to make the universe today. And once it became aware that it existed, it wanted to spread itself with other existence. Otherwise it's by itself, just sitting there lonely in the dark, in the middle of nothing. That's the whole purpose of life, is to love other self, is to experience life with other self. It's a lonely universe, but the Creator's by himself, or itself. And I don't think the Creator's by itself, or himself, or whatever. Whatever it is, I don't know. Might not even be a he or she. Might just be an energy being. And we can get into that. An astral being. The Holy Spirit. A being of energy that became aware. Consciously aware. Without any physical body. These are physics. This is science that we can discover can be possible. We're discovering that life doesn't have to have a shell. We're discovering that antimatter exists. We're discovering that dark energy exists. The paranormal world is the key. The people who have dedicated their lives and their reputations on the line. The people who look at us like we're fucking crazy. and don't know what we're talking about. But guess what? You're the motherfucker that don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Some of the shit is bullshit. I agree. Okay? There is hoaxes out there. There are hoaxers out there. But let me tell you something else right fucking now. I work for the government. And I've used capability of technologies within the government and the paranormal world that has let me see things that you fucking haven't. And you cannot judge anything unless you experience it yourself. You could sit back and listen to a scientist talk about all the shit that he says is the way things are. But the point of the fact is you really need to discover it yourself. That's the whole point. You don't have freedom of personality anymore. You're a fucking droid. Like a Verizon Android. Or an Apple iPhone. That's what you are. And it fucking disgusts me. Because you're a beautiful being. Of creation and love. And unimaginable things that you can do. With meditation. With psychedelics. The things that you can see. The things that you can experience. And I'm not saying you got to abuse these things. And I'm saying you shouldn't even do these things if you have a problem with them. For instance, DMT, the spirit molecule. A great way of connecting to the universe. That's what we need to do. Connect to the universe. Figure out why we're separated from the singularity of the Creator. And why? Why aren't we one with the Creator right now? And that's the question. It feels like we're in exile. It feels like we're in a place that bad things can happen. It feels like we're in a place that we shouldn't be. Even though planet Earth is our home and we feel ignorantly proud of the shit that we go through and live in. To be honest, this ain't the greatest place in the universe to exist. And you need to realize that. The Bible says, my Father has many houses. Jesus says that. My Father has many houses. You know, I get really frustrated. And I have a dark side to me. But I want to channel that dark energy and use it to empower the good. And I think people really do need to start using some of their ness. And not against their loved ones, not against their children, but against the government, against police state, against tyranny, against an oppressive government, against corrupt politicians, against information hoarding. We are in an information war. And the human consciousness is so much more capable. And if the government gave you the capabilities, the true capability, the information that you need to use that capability, which they have, then they could no longer control you. They could no longer slave you 9 to 5 every fucking day. They could no longer make you do the things they want you to fucking do. You know, I see veterans out there. I'm a disabled veteran. But there are veterans who are way worse off than I am. And I see them struggling on a daily basis emotionally and physically. And the suicide rate for veterans right now is ridiculous. And me being a soldier and being in combat over in Iraq and experiencing the same things that these people went through, I have to question why they would do such a thing. You know, why would they kill themselves? But you really reach a point in your life where you question, what the fuck is going on? Why do I even have to be here? And suicide is never the way to go, folks. It's never the way to go. Learning and fighting against the thing that makes you very angry. But doing in a good way. A good way. And what I mean by that is protesting. Going to your town hall meetings. Requesting that they remove fluoride from your tap water. Find something else to make sure that your water's clean. I'm asking that they stop chemtrailing the skies with iodine and cloud seeding. I'm asking that they stop using HAARP for weather warfare. I'm asking that they tell us the truth about extraterrestrial contact. I'm asking that they tell us the truth about human mind capabilities that we've been dumbed down from. I'm asking about why there's an agenda to enslave the population. I'm asking about why there's an agenda to hoard all of the money in one or very few hands. I'm asking why the world wants to be called a New World Order under this tyrannical, oppressive police state government. I'm asking these questions, and you need to ask them too. And you know what? You're going to find out if you just do this research yourself, folks. And you're going to find out that the world is not as pretty and that you have been living in a fake paradox and you need to wake up and fucking break that box. Because it literally is a Pandora's box. It will suck you in and you will never come out of it. I'm spending a lot of money on this project. And I'm making it very professional, but I also want to keep my who I am involved with the show. Because it's mental madness, folks, that's kicked in past history, and mental madness is kicking in now. We've lost touch with who and what we are. We've lost touch with why we were created. We've lost touch with who we were created by. We lost touch with what our ultimate goal is. Our ultimate goal is to go to the club and fuck and do what the fuck we want. Instead of reaching for the stars, finding a planet full of gold to mine. Finding new galactic neighbors that can teach us new things about the universe and about life. About opening up to the fact that there are realms, different densities of existence and beings. And trying to reconnect with our ancient technology that once existed on this planet. With the Great Pyramids and the Mayan temples. We need to open up our eyes, folks. Jesus was a great man, but he was only one man. Gandhi was a great man. He was only one man. Martin Luther King was a great man, but he's only one man. Together, we need to become one. If we all speak out, if we all start raising our children morally and ethically, and start disciplining our mental stimulations and our physical stimulations, and start meditating instead of just praying and pretending like somebody's going to answer your prayers, when in reality the only person that's going to do anything in this life for you is you. And if you can ask entities or the Creator or spirits for help and wisdom and knowledge and guidance, it will come directly to you. You will find the solution yourself. You won't have to ask anybody for the solution. Because within your own subconsciousness, the answer is already there. Now, does it sound hippie to meditate? Absolutely. Do I possibly sound like a hippie? Maybe. But I'm not. I'm a hard soldier who's fought the hard life. And now I want a little bit of peace. And I want to see people all over the planet stop suffering. And you know, there was times where I was walking through Baghdad, the streets of Baghdad, Iraq. And I would look at little children. This is really emotional for me. And I would look at little children living in milk carton built trash huts. Just staring at me. calling me your excellence and your majesty, and dying, skin and bones, just fucking flies all over them, trash, mud all around them. Mister, can I have food? Mister, can I have water? That shit right there. You know, if that were my kids, I don't know what I would do with myself. I could not live with myself and put my kids through that. You people have no fucking clue how good you have it. And not only do you have it good, you ignorantly, blissfully bathe in your ignorant lust of crap, shit, fuck life that ain't real. And you could give a rat's fucking ass if that kid's dying. You might feel bad for about 2 seconds. Then you go back to doing whatever the fuck it is you were doing. That's it for today, folks. I don't want to get too mad. I love peace, and we'll have another episode soon. Play the motherfucking ruckus!